How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to another video. T4 today. We've got a SILL to replace, we've got a track rod end, we've got a drop link, and we've also got a service to do for our T4. Let's go. We're going to do an oil service. So what we've got here is some 10W40 oil, and we want to make sure that it's Volkswagen specific. It needs those numbers. 50500, 50500. Bosch fuel filter. Let's go. So first off, remove the sump plug and make sure you have a new crush washer to go on for when it goes back in. So on the 1.9 TD engine, the ABL, the capacity for the oil is 4.8 litres. So that's what we'll aim for. So the sump plug put back in, and then it's on to removing the oil filter. These should only be hand tight on there. So pre-fill the filter and then smear some oil around the seal to help when reinstalling. Clean up your oil filter housing face, reinstall your filter, and doing it up hand tight. You can then add your oil and check your dipstick as you go to make sure you get it on the level. So installing the panel filter is really easy. Couple of clips, lift up the lid of your airbox, take out the old one, give it a clean out if it needs, put in your new one. So as you can see, the filter definitely needed replacing. I'm not too sure when this was last done, but it was way overdue for me. So out with the old, in with the new, cover back on, clip down, good to go. Filter swap. We've done the oil and oil filter, and we've also done the fuel filter in the last video. So for all intents and purposes now, we should be good for another 6 months to a year, depending on how many miles I do. And of course, also to point out, I'm not a qualified mechanic, I'm not a trained mechanic, I'm just a guy in his workshop having a go like many of you. So now it's time for the SILL replacement. There's a fair bit into this, but we'll go through. So I had my friend Dave over for this work. I can do some welding, but for this sort of job I thought it was best to get him in, as he did for the other side, and gets us a nicely fitting new SILL. So first up was chopping out all of the old dead metal, ready to get it replaced with brand new. My friend Dave here, going in, cutting out the metal, getting the surfaces prepped, ready for the new panels to be put in. Here you can see the new SILL with the holes drilled prepared, and as you can see here also, we've started getting the panels and plates welded back in, good metal to good metal. So I am actually enrolling into a welding course. This is something I want to be able to do myself without relying on friends to bail me out. I think it's a good skill to learn if you want to be involved in older vehicles. Okay, so we got the sill done. We got the inner arch line done as well. It's not going to win prizes, but it's going to give us solid motor in for the next 10 plus years. So let's take a look. So we have a new outer sill put in, and if you can see this bit bad light, we also have a new panel in here. And at the back here we also have this panel put in. So let's get on with the next jobs. We've got one track rod end to do on the offside, and we've also got both drop links to do. So they've been soaking in RP90, which is a penetrating oil. Hopefully it's all going to work out for us. Hopefully I'm not going to have to grind off anything. It does look pretty bad in there for rust. Let's go take a look. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit of surface corrosion about, especially on the arms, shock mounts and bits and pieces. I've also got an advisory for the MOT on the shocks. I'll clean them up, but it looks like we're going to have to replace them. So looking at the drop link bolts and that, they have been soaking. Hopefully they won't be too much trouble to come out. I am concerned about this here. This is the track rod end, and that looks pretty bad to me. Fingers crossed, I'll clean it up with a bit of wire wheel and that, and we can actually get it off quite easily and get it replaced. Let's go. So out with the wire wheel on the drill, clean up those surfaces, and see what we've got to play with. Well, that's cleaned up pretty amazing with just the wire wheel there. We should be able to get that off. So with a few sharp taps with a hammer, these nuts have actually come loose. Proper pleased. Come on. So that was a bit of a mission. We got it off in the end with the ball joint splitter. I actually didn't remember that I had it. The new track rod end, or tie rod end as it's also known. What we need to do now we've loosened off the nut at the back. Let's go down here. Okay, so the nut at the back now has been loosened, and it allows this to move without spinning the track rod in, or the tie rod, sorry. So what we want to do now, in the ideal world, we want to count the amount of turns it takes for this track rod end to come off. So that could be, excuse the light, do apologise. So we're going to spin this off and count the amount of rotations it takes for it to come off, and then We can turn this on the same, and then we should be pretty much back in the same position. And then this back nut, we can then tighten this to this again, and that'll secure it in position. So I'm going to put this back now because I've just done one. Right. Okay, so that come in at 20 turns getting this off. And previously when this was done, there's been some copper grease added to this. So that is possibly the reason why I did not have so much of a struggle. Whoever done this last, put some copper grease on. That's helped me out no end. Let's get the new one wound on. So this was an advisory for the MOT that there was some slight play in it. Obviously my aim is to get 0 advisories for our MOT for next year. But as you can see, I've got a lot of play in this knuckle. And you won't be able to hear it, but I can feel it through it, the knocking. So good job to get that replaced. Get this one in. So next up is the drop link. Removing the bolt at the bottom that goes through the shock absorber, the lower arm, and the drop link itself. So, got the drop link out. I had to cut it in the end. Didn't film it because sparks flying everywhere on my camera from my phone. Not a good idea. But that's out of the way, we can get the new one in. So load up your new drop link with some silicone spray. Also clean up the end of your anti-roll bar. You obviously want to make that nice and smooth to be able to slide on your new drop link. So push on your new drop link, slide your bolt back through the back of the drop link, through the lower arm, through the shock absorber, and then do it up with the nut. Well, that took way longer than expected. I had real trouble with that drop link, getting it on. But we now have a new drop link and a new track rod end, and we can knock them off the MOT list. So that was a bit of a mission. We got that sorted though. Now we want to look at seam sealing all our welds. So we're going to use a brushable seam sealer. I prefer to do it using my fingers. And we're going to get in all those seams where we welded, get them all sealed, primer, stone chip, job's good. So I'm applying the red stripe seam sealer here, using my fingers, getting it in all the areas that have been welded, getting it in all the panels that don't actually have a weld to them as well, making sure everything is covered. Okay, seam sealer applied. not trying to win a competition. I just want to make sure that we are fully protected. So all our welds and joins all seam sealed in, protected. We can now get on with stone chipping. So with the stone chip, I apply it liberally. There'll be 2 coats that go on in the end. But again, I want to make sure that I get all those panels and welds that have been put in protected with the stone chip. This is really going to help with the longevity of the repair. Okay, that's it for this video. We've made some good progress on our T4. Do hit the thumbs up button, do subscribe down below if you're not, and we'll catch you on the next upload. There'll also be a link to see the full playlist of what we've done so far to our T4. Cheers for watching.